Hello, in this video, we will start in the year that I was born. This was roughly 2500 years ago. You might have already met my dad. He works in the tunnel, greeting and scaring students who are coming back, so that they do not have a rough time like he had when he was younger. He is a little tough on them, but only because he wants them to have the best opportunity they can, to learn and grow to be responsible adults. What follows is the history of my birth and education, what went wrong, and the dramatic changes to society that my story, along with many others, helped usher in. I love my parents, I do. They had certain experiences growing up, and fears based on the many traumas of their past. Their concerns and experiences were not enough to prepare them for my upbringing. Not that anyone back then really was prepared with the knowledge and resources that I would have needed to make things go smoother. The problems with rebellious children are often very easy to see, but the gentle, quiet children do not always voice concerns as loudly, or create problems that have as much urgency to them. But the problems do run just as deep, and very often fester far longer and deeper than ones that are more obvious at first. The discussion that starts with children born like me goes on to drive a deep wedge in our eternal society, far deeper than anything that almost all in society expected. The division would take a very long time to show, but it is the reality in your time that we all need to deal with. It took a long time for the wisest of us, and even myself, to see, and we are very well trained here. Please be patient, and I will try to tell the story as well as I can. It will probably take a minimum of several more episodes to really show the beginning of what the problem is, and how serious it is, so please be patient.
Hi, welcome. I hear that you have some exciting news for us. Do tell us what is going on. We cannot wait to hear. Thanks for coming, Founder Grandfather. It is always a pleasure and an honor to have you in our home. So, what is the news that brings you here?
Thanks, I always love to be nearby. It is so good to see how well you and your family are doing. As you know, many thousands of years ago, we got all that was fairly easy to get out of the two extinct and the two modern human species DNA. We desperately need to get to a safer genome, and there is no already existing species that can bring us further. While many in society did choose to carefully regress their genetics, more of us did not. You were one of the ones that did not. We have been trying to force evolution to change, through natural selective breeding that works within our laws, and within each child's right to choose their own spouse. That takes a while, and is a fair amount of hard work. We have started seeing some progress now, and a number of children are now being born that we are calling gentle-born. This means that their genetics are starting to be different than anything that would ever have had the chance to survive in the natural dog-eat-dog world of the toughest winds. The genetics they are born with would be very unsuited to life in the natural world. But just as the genome from the natural world is entirely unfit for an unlimited lifespan, this genome promises to be the most promising yet, to deal with the challenges that we face in our society now. If we have any chance of surviving for more than another 10 or 20,000 years or so, we will have to go to a safer genome. Every one of the vast amount of simulations we have run tells us that. Luckily, we are now starting to see some very promising results, with some new births.
What my father is trying to tell you, is that in around 9 months from now, you two will be the proud parents of one gentle-born baby boy, as long as you both are okay with both the pregnancy, and the challenge of raising a more gentle child. Both of your DNA happen to combine in a very fortunate way, giving us this opportunity.
Oh wow, this is so exciting. We are absolutely thrilled. Do not worry about the pregnancy, it is far easier to be pregnant here than it was in the Earth life. It is almost no work. We were wanting another child. We want to get a large family, and become grandparents ourselves someday. I am glad that our genetics could help out.
Once we get a certain amount of new genetics tested enough, we can roll out updates to everyone else. As always, the founders will get updates first, to show that they are safe.
When will we get to see what he is going to look like? I am so excited. Do you have anything ready yet?
Why, of course we do. Here is a projection of what he will likely look like when he reaches maturity. As you can see, he will be fairly tall, with dirty blonde hair, and a nice smile.
Oh wow, he is so handsome. This will be great. I have so many things to start planning. I have to show everyone this. Thanks so much.
And with that, they started getting everything ready for my childhood and education. We next jump several years to where I am getting ready to go to my Earth life.
Well, this is almost it. You have reached the age now, when you are finally ready to start your mortal life. I am both so proud and so sad at the same time. You have been everything that I wish that I had been at your age. So faithful, so kind, and so wise for your years. You will grow to be a very wise and influential man someday, but I am sad to see you leave for your mortal life. It will be so long until we get to be together again. Even after you get back, it will take a while before you know who I am. Eventually, we all will get the newer genome, but you were born with it, and will go through the mortal training as a more gentle soul. This makes you different and very important. While we all are equal here, you can get the opportunity to help usher in all those gentle born coming soon. You will be a grandfather to this new generation of strong young souls.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate the vote of confidence, it means so much to me. But the mortal world is so scary. I do not see why people have to be so cruel. It is not something that I look forward to. I surely would never rebel and do bad things like times of old, if I just did not go there. I wish that I could stay and train differently. I know you want to spare me from things that are hard, but bringing me to that world, in a rich family, means that I may be pushed into being a slave owner, in the mortal realm. It makes no sense to me why I would have to do that, as I never would want to take advantage, let alone own people. Surely there is some other way, somewhere else in the world.
When I was sent to the world, I was so afraid of what was coming. I thought I would almost rather die than have to spend a life as a slave. Once there were good parts to it, and life was very nice at times. But all in all, that is an experience that I would never want you to have to go through. It was so rough, so degrading, and so physically and emotionally exhausting, that it would be more cruel than you need. This is a primitive world. There are not yet an abundance of roles in society people play. Either you take advantage of people there, or you get taken advantage of. With your personality, that means that left to your own devices, people would make you the slave. You would still be made into a slave, no matter how you start out, if we are not careful to make sure you do not. Other people need the experience, because they are all too willing to make their life easier by letting others do their work for them. This is not your problem, and you do not have to learn not to take advantage of others. Normally people learn better by letting them make their own mistakes, so they can see what errors they are making, and finally be able to admit to themselves that they were wrong, and that there are better ways, and better philosophies to learn. As you have said before, you would not rebel against our ways. Even without that life, you would be a very good member of society. I have no doubt about that. Most are taught to learn how not to fall away from society. You need to be taught how to help lead one. Those are very different types of lessons you will have to learn. While we cannot say rough times are coming, I personally have been a participant in times that no one dreamed would ever happen. It has been no easy decision for your mom and I. We have talked at great length with very experienced members of our extended family, and even a lot with founder grandfather as well. Times are peaceful, but at the same time, a very large part of society has chosen to embrace a known flawed genome and biology that will in time get us into trouble, according to all simulations. This was done so that our leaders could better influence the mortal world and make it a place suitable for our children to be raised in. I know that we bop our kids a lot in mortal training, but there are very important limits to what we can tolerate. Our leaders were not as wise as they usually seem when they made the decision to regress DNA. We were grasping at straws and needed desperately to get something, anything that worked really well. They certainly do better now, and everyone is quite full of I told you so's at the moment. But in the long term, there are several among us that feel that there will be great difficulties going back to a safe genome. Actually not back, We will need them to move forward to an even newer genome, that now will be so much different than what many have now gotten themselves used to. No, we think there will be problems. We just do not know how big or how small they will be. I fear that more will be done to cause problems when it comes time to get rid of the problem genome than what most people would think possible. Changing to be less violent and controlling never has been easy, but another problem is with leadership. It has been the voice of a mighty person who leads through force of will and popularity. This can't be the way that we let leadership work. To lead, you must understand. It is not force of will, but wisdom and understanding that will win the day. The strong are a force of nature, with everyone bending to their will. You will never be like that. You might think that no one listens or pays attention. But in your quiet wisdom, you can inspire others. A more effective way is to lead by example, by courage and sacrifice. The weak grow strong out of knowledge, example and support. We all are inspired to learn and grow forward, not to be led there by the wrong reasons. We must lead out of knowledge and wisdom, not out of popularity. It seems like less influence to teach, rather than tell, but it works better. The knowledge and wisdom you must learn might have to come with great sorrow. You are so gentle that you might never understand the rough. If you do not learn in the mortal realm, your personal virtues are already good. If you do not sacrifice and learn how to understand the dangers we face, who else can the coming generations rely upon to help guide them? It is always easy to hope someone else comes along, son, and they very well might. But there are not many like you yet. There will be, but not yet. You need to go down to that horrible life and live like many others would only dream of, so you can deeply, thoroughly understand the rough, to be the grandfather and the leader that the coming generation will need. They will not look to you as a king, maybe not even as the most influential leader, because you will not puff yourself up, but without this service, who else can deeply understand both sides of our struggle, and help us all make it to where we need to go? Yes, there are, and will be others, but too few. I am sorry, son, I know this will be hard for you. Just not as hard as what could happen if you did not understand the foe that you will someday surely face. It will be hard, but given the choice, I know you will want to prepare yourself for a time when your own family will need you.
And with that, it was time to get ready for my time on your earth. Ready or not, I was in for an experience for good and bad that would change everything I knew and who I am. Please stay tuned for more in the coming episodes.